Welcome, League Esports fans, to another episode of the No FFs Podcast, a podcast where we hit it hard, we hit it fast, and we get to the point in every match, every series where the FF votes start flying. Today, special episode, we got our Duke hat on, we got our Duke National Champion t-shirt, it's Duke time, it's March Madness going on, and we are talking about the other madness happening at the other end of the world, where the LPL is kicking into high gear. I wrote an article on .esports about the rise of Fun Plux Phoenix and some of the top teams of the LPL, but week 8 and week 9, which we're in right now, about 2/3 of the way through the spring split is when things really get spicy over there in China. Real quick, follow me on Twitter. I'm your host, Xing Li. I write for .esports like I mentioned. You can follow my Twitter at XingTheLi, that's XingTheli, and you can also follow the podcast at No FFs Pod, that's NOFFS POD. That's where I'll be dropping podcast-specific information when episodes arrive. Subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube. Love to hear back from you on Twitter or in the comments. As I mentioned, week 8 and week 9, we got some preeminent matchups in the LPL. We're going to be focusing on the top teams. And what I call the top is everything from Fun Plux Phoenix down to JD Gaming and then also Edward. You have teams in there that are right at the bottom of that group, including Bilibili, I'm not sure about these teams. Even JD Gaming to a degree, but JD Gaming has a win over Bilibili because they haven't beat anyone yet. The first series we're getting into is the Fun Plux Phoenix series against Top Sports that actually ended week 7. Fun Plux had a 4-series stretch in the middle of the season where they went IG, RNG, Top Sports, and then finished up with EDG. Really wanted to test their mettle, and the first game was all about Tian, the jungler. This team is built around the early aggression of Doinb and moving him around of the map and just basically taking everything through mid lane pressure. He was able to exert that pressure because Tian got him a kill. Now they inted a little bit. They inted 2 kills over the Top Sports in the top lane where Gimgoon just, I don't know what they were doing. There was a miscommunication there. But I want to pick this up at 7 minutes and 30 seconds in the game. And this is how you snowball a lead. Just look at the control that Tian has on Rek'Sai. As we go through and we just scroll through, we're just going to skip through. He's contesting the second blue buff spawn. And he's got that because he has Lucian in the bot lane. He has Ryze who has priority on the mid lane. He's able to contest the blue buff. And again, this isn't necessarily about we're going to take your blue buff, but we know we have a matchup against the Jax that we like because Jax is scaling in the game. So he's going to take the buff. And then he's going to go and clear his blue side jungle where his rubber band camps are. And then he's going to recall, and then we're going to go right back to the Drake. So we're not going to give that up. We're going to set up that objective because we just secured bot side priority. Jax has no reason to be bot side. We're going to rotate over the bot turret. They're going to make a power play top. Gimgoon actually dies. It's okay. He's gangplank. It's fine. Tian goes up, cleans up the turret where the minions were, gets a few minions, which is always good for a jungler when you get untaxed minions, rotates in the Rift Herald. They actually pick it up. After Tian dies, another member of FPX picks it up. They drop it mid lane. They're able to get the turret plates and the mid lane turret. They fight in the mid lane. Again, this is the type of stuff that FPX want to do. They want to fight. They want to skirmish early, use that pressure, and they just immediately rotate around the map. They steal the 3rd blue buff again. Really good for Doinb. And just watch them. They take everything. This is exactly what you want them to do. Next move is for the top turret. We've got, mid turret down, bot turret down. Top turret's easy. The next objective, Cloud Drake goes to top, but we're not concerned about that. And this is just classic snowballing of the game. We've talked too much about this, but this is actually, if you want to learn how a good team snowballs the game and takes over, like, the entire map, takes everything that they can, watching what happens between 7 minutes and about 23 minutes where FPX are able to set up Baron control, and they're actually able to get a pretty free Baron where they, the top turrets are down, they push them out of the red side jungle. This is a great game to watch for how to snowball a lead. We are running out of time. We're going to go right into the second game. The second game didn't go so well from Fun Plux Phoenix, and what I want to look at is the red side draft here. There's not a lot of Baron control, and it falls off super hard. So if Top Sports can ever get past 20 minutes with things like Kalista and Vladimir, I don't see how FPX ever contest the Baron. They draft themselves into a hole. Loken's got LWX pushed up to his turret. LWX is one of those players who can pop off. He has some of the highest kills in the entire league, mostly because Fun Plux Phoenix will fight anything. But I want to see him be more consistent, and this is not the game where it shows that. Top Sports very intelligently, they were able to accelerate this game by diving the Lucian at, this is about just past 324 in the game. They're able to basically push the Lucian off the turret. Crisp goes in to die. I need to see better decision making out of him, especially against the top bot lanes in the league. You look at ADG, RNG, IG. If they want to go through these teams in a 5-game series, we have to get better bot lane play. Loken was basically untouchable at this point. The Kalista had too much priority and they couldn't team fight, and that was that. In game 3, kind of the same thing from FPX. They drafted themselves into a corner with this Lucian. This has been a kind of a wonky pick where Kalista, at least in the Asian regions, has been very, very successful into Lucian with her early range and the ability to control objectives, which gives Top Sports a bunch of options around this Baron. In this game, what Top Sports did is they have the Corki against the Urgot, and they know that Doinby wants to split. They know that FPX wants to make their mid laner the focal point of their team strategy. And Top Sports are like, Knight, right now, if you are not following this guy, he is one of the best mid laners in the entire region. He might just be the best. He's an absolute monster. And Top Sports, they're like, we're going to funnel everything onto the Corki. And by doing that, we have Aurelia, who scales harder than Jace in top lane. We have Corki. If we get him ahead of the Urgot, FPX can never match us in side lanes. And that's what they did. I'm at 14 minutes and 35 seconds in the game. Look at where Corki is. So he leaves base, and he was originally going to head bot lane, but they have a shove mid, and just look at what happens. Loken is pushing mid lane. He's got Kalista, pretty good champion. They take almost the entire turret down. Plates have already gone, but look at what they do. Knight is the one that they give the farm to. Loken leaves. They have no one to, they have nowhere for him to be, but they decide we want to get our Corki ahead. He takes the entire wave away from the Kalista, and they're able to shove that in. And then look where he goes next. The next big wave that FPX is shoving in is a bot lane. Guess who gets that wave too? Again, it's the Corki. He is getting every single wave. Loken is able to pick up some scraps in the mid lane. But look at the priority that Top Sports is giving this guy. And the CS lead continues to grow as the game goes on. The Aurelia can keep scaling. It was about 10 CS there. We're picking it up a couple minutes later. Now it's 16. And they were able to rotate basically the Corki around from mid to both side lanes and take all the farm, put it all on him. It made Doinby totally irrelevant, which if you followed FPX, they really want to play through that guy. He's their key guy that starts everything. He's their Jizuke, if you're familiar with the LEC. And this was, not a good showing for them. One quick thing I want to look at LWX, his champion pool. He's playing a lot of on-hit stuff still, so you have that Lucian. I mean, it's not real on-hit, but he builds Black Cleaver first. He's pretty good on the Kaisa, which gives you some late-game insurance. You look at what he did last year. He's moderately successful on crit champions. I want to see that. I want to see the Tristana back. I want to see the Xayah back. I mean, we're in a crit meta. They have to be able to give he's a good player. They have to be able to give LWX some resources and let him be the late game carry. The next series that we're getting into is RNG versus Rogue Warriors. Now, if you're wondering, Rogue Warriors were a top team last year, not so much this year. This is more of a heat check for me to see what happened because RNG lost 0-2. It was a big shock. And RNG aren't quite at the overwhelming form that we normally expect from this team. We expect them to be top 2 easy, get in the final, have that shot to go to MSI. I just wanted to take a look at what went wrong in their 0-2 sweep to Rogue Warriors. The first game was basically Uzi and Ning misplaying, this is going to happen a couple times where either one or both make mistakes that kind of end games. They have blue side, they give over the Vayne, and they basically give Wuji the game. And he's able to go out to a 3-1 kill lead. He's, relevant in CS. The Ezreal is at a point, we're at 24 minutes and 30 seconds in the game, where the Ezreal really isn't that powerful just yet. He's got his Muramana stacked, but he's just sitting on Iceborne Gauntlet. He doesn't have that second tier fully online. And Uzi's positioning in this moment the Vayne was already ahead. And I just don't know what he's doing in this positioning. So Ning goes in, blows all of the summoners, blows his ult, doesn't actually get on Wuji. They have a bunch of ways to get on Wuji. They have the Rek'Sai ult, they have Lissandra ult, they have Alistar. They don't actually get the Vayne. And then Uzi walks right up into this team fight, and he's on Ezreal, but he eased into the team fight for damage, I guess. again, they don't get Wuji. Wuji's full health at this moment. Unfortunately, Amazing J knocks them away with a Poppy ult, and here Uzi's just caught in no man's land now. He's got an Echo chasing him down, and this is just... It's not the same RNG that I am at least used to seeing. The execution isn't quite there. Uzi, I don't know why he E'd in while defensive summoners and Wuji never even uses flash or heal at this point, and Uzi's dead. So this is just a head-scratching moment for me, and we'll see more of this as we go on through the VOD review. Second game, I don't know, man. So Karsa actually gets out to a humongous lead. So we're at 4 minutes and 20 seconds in the game. The Karsa on J4 is like 3-4 camps ahead of Elise, Shuju's Elise. And it looks like, RNG's scaling to this game fairly well. Karsa was able to get his top lane ahead, and so Shuju's like, well, I'm going to go bot, walks over wards. Uzi and Ming are actually fine here. And it's just unfortunate. They don't really, it's not a clean dive. They don't have the ability to juggle a turret aggro. Unfortunately, Ming picks up both kills, but it just kind of set the game off on a wrong foot. And you think, oh, RNG, they've got the Kaisa on two assists. He's winning that lane. This is going to be really good for them. Well, then you go over to about 13 minutes and 40 seconds in the game, and not the same RNG that we're used to seeing. Karsa's going bot lane, and they have this dive set up, right? They're pushing in the wave. They've got both Xiaohu and Karsa coming in. They don't care if it's warded, and I just don't know what Karsa's doing. So he ults in, and they put in the Galio right on top of him, and he's standing up, and then he leaves Turret aggro. So I'm going to slow this down. And he jumps in, and he J4 ults Uji, again, who's the guy you want to kill. Uji E's and flashes out, which is fine. And then he runs out of turret aggro range. And meanwhile, they're still hitting the Alistar in the turret. And what ends up happening is Karsa drops turret aggro. He could have tanked at least one more shot. Instead, it's Uzi that starts taking the turret. He takes the full front of the Ezreal R, the True Shot Barrage. He's taking the turret. And now the health bars are too low for them to do anything. And when Rogue Warriors come back through this, they can't fight this now. And they rotate down. They go back in. Again, low health bars on Uzi, and Karsa has nothing left. He E's in, he doesn't have ult, he's not able to do damage, and the Aurelia just destroys them all, and just basically gave over the map to our Rogue Warriors. They have the Kled in the top lane, who Poppy just can't handle in the late game, and they have an Aurelia too, 280 damage threats who really take down turrets fast. They weren't able to match the map. I don't know what Karsa was thinking there, but it was not a well-executed dive, and these execution issues continue to plague RNG. We'll see them again. The next series was the end of Fun Plux Phoenix's kind of crucial test. They went up against EDG, a team that the record's not good, but I always think that these guys will come back. You always think in the playoffs, these guys will be relevant. This was another game where Tien actually had a good start, bunch of mid-focus, but LWX and Crisp did not play the lane as well as I would have thought. We're going to pick this one up actually at about 23 minutes and 20 seconds in the league. LWX's positioning, man. He's with Gimgoon, so he's like, okay, I'm with my Poppy, but the rest of the team is off to the right side of mid lane, and you just can't be this close to a J4. Poppy, pops the barrier, but all you have to do, and he doesn't kite towards his Poppy. I just don't know what he's doing here. He kites away from the Poppy, probably would have died anyway because the mid turret's not down, and you just can't be this close. And then he steps up, so they blow the J4 and he's like, okay, they're disengaged. I'm okay to go in here. He steps back up. They actually land the Aurelia ult, so he has to flash away now. And meanwhile, Crisp goes in, tries to save them. He ults Crisp out, and this is just, it's a mess. FPX, again, they'll take any fight, but LWX, you just can't be there, man. You can't do that type of thing against a team like EDG. Second game, much better from the side of FPX. This is another bot lane feeding play, but this happens on the side of EDG. They see Tien at 250 in the game. They see the Rek'Sai on a ward taking the scuttle, and they, for whatever reason, decide as Ezreal or as Vayne Rakan, we're going to push up. Tien flashes in. They're able to get the knock up, and they're able to get the kill. And this basically snowballed the bot lane. This was a good LWX game. Again, he's a good player. Think he has a ton of potential, but if he wants to consistently be at the top, if this team wants to be at the top, they have to rely on him as a late game carry. The next major mistake from EDG, 12 minutes in the game, they try Rift Herald, and they just have no setup for this, and they don't have mid lane prio. They see the Callista coming up, and she's in the mid lane now, and I don't know why they're contesting for this. They think they have top lane prio. They don't. FPX come in. Again, they'll take a fight. This is a good fight for them. And this is basically the ending of the game. They snowballed this triple kill to Tien. Unfortunate that it ended up on the Rek'Sai, but it was, that was the GG moment for me, the FF moment for me in that game. Game 3, I know we're running out of time. FPX, EDG, Game 3. I hate that they show, like in the LPL, they show like this root and vote. Like, I want to see CS, I want to see like jungle pathing, right? I want to see like what happens in the bot lane to get us to a game state. We're at 2 minutes in the game, and stuff is already happening. I don't like this from Clearlove. So he's got top Karma into Gangplank, and he knows Ray is going to have basically a perma shove to his turret. Instead of going in, and they see the crucial moment. So the reason I'm picking it up here is at 210, they have a Pixel Brush ward in the bot side river. So they see that Tien has gone straight from blue to that bot side scuttle because he knows he's not going to be able to duel the J4 early as Nocturne. So he's got to be able to get ahead of where the J4 is going to be. But I would have loved to see Clearlove take topside control and just basically insulate Ray, right? You set a deep Nocturne ward and you make Ray ungankable on the Karma. And then you can come back and the Ashe is probably still going to be pushed there for a couple. You wait for the Ashe to push in. You're at level 3 in the bot lane. Your jungler's level 4. And he's able to get a gank off basically after first recall. And then at about 4 minutes and 50 seconds in the game, now we're contesting the topside scuttle. Again, like, Tien is able to be here because Clearlove didn't punish the early clear. And this is, I don't know what he's doing. He's got this whole thing warded. The entire river, topside river is warded for EDG. They see the Nocturne alone. They've got Corki moving first. And he's just waiting around. And he doesn't, Nocturne is super squishy, right? He's not 6. He can't do anything. And they decide not to go in until Doinby's teleport basically finishes, and he gets the taunt off. And so, because the taunt goes off, not only is he shielded from Corki damage, but Clearlove can no longer deal damage to Tien. Gimgoon actually, again, he's taking Gangplank into Karma. He's able to get there first. FPX pick up first blood. They win the extended trade because Gangplank is there first. He does become relevant. He comes in here, gets a kill, and this is just, one of those unfortunate moments where EDG looked like there was some hesitancy on either Clearlove or Scout's part. Again, you kill the Nocturne first, the rest of the game goes in your favor. And unfortunately, FPX know how, as we saw earlier, they know how to snowball games. And they win top and bot. The top lane, outscales for FPX because it's a Gangplank. EDG fight back with some 5v5s. Unfortunately, they don't get good Drakes because of that. There's not a great toehold for them back in the game. They have side lane control on the side of FPX. EDG sneak a Baron to kind of put off the inevitable, but this is one where there was no coming back after that. I want to quickly gloss over RNG versus Billy. Kind of similar to LWX. Billy's got a pretty good setup here. They have Kuro, who's going to be pretty consistent in the mid lane. Jungler can be inconsistent, but I really want to focus on bot lane. Jin Jiao, you can't lose lane to a Tristana if you're playing Callista. This was game 2, allowed RNG to come back. Billy actually won game 1 on blue side, and they come back and he's down like 86 CS to the Tristana, 308 Tristana. You can't let Uzi win that lane in that matchup like that. You have to be able to punish. And then I looked at the stats because I was watching the drafts in this game. I was like, Billy seemed like a blue side team, right? And this doesn't mean a ton. I'll probably write an article about this at some point, but their blue side win rate is like way higher than the red side win rate. Which, I mean, most teams are slightly better on blue side, but red side success does tell me a couple things, right? It tells me that you have good, safe picks that you can blind, right? You have the ability to blind at multiple positions. You have the ability to control Baron with your drafts. You have the ability to control Drake from a favorable side on red side and get it to an advantage there. It just tells me a little bit about your flexibility as a team and your ability to do different things. And it's really interesting because you look at like Korea, LCK, Griffin, a very good blue side team, very bad on red side, or comparatively worse on red side. It tells you a little bit about them. SKT though, very good at both. So it's a really interesting thing to look at and how teams like to play. Again, I'm not going to get into this game very much because RNG picked up the win. It was like one of those, apparently people flamed Karsa after the Rogue Warriors win. I'm like, Karsa was not the biggest issue in that win. Game 3 versus RNG and Billy turned into an absolute joke, but RNG pull it out and they're able to get the victory. And Karsa, like, he like cried on stage. It was a big moment for him. But we are running late. This is supposed to be a fast podcast, but we're going into JDG versus RNG. We're going to get into game 1, and this is Flawless and now in the bot lane. We got Flawless coming in on the jungle Rek'Sai, and Uzi's pushed up, and they don't get the kill. And I just love how fast. Look how fast. So we're at 2 minutes and 55 seconds in the game. Look how fast Amazing J teleports in. No hesitancy. Uzi is able to escape Lu Mao's Braum stun by flashing out. They're able to get the kill on the Amazing J Poppy, which is a little unfortunate because Uzi is not getting these kills. And I just want to see what happens. So 3:20 in the game. Karsa's like, I'm going to cover. So he gets Krugs, which high experience. And then he comes in and he gets, so he's at 25 CS, 26, 27, 28. He gets about 7 of these minions that Zoom has crashing into the turret. And he's also able to basically take topside control. And for whatever reason, Flawless just believes his topside is gone. They don't see him. This is something Karsa certainly could have done on Olaf. But Flawless just believes his topside is gone. So when he actually goes back to clear, he doesn't take the scuttle, leaves it up for Karsa, and that actually gets him out to a 5-4 level lead. And he goes mid lane. Both teams converge mid lane. And kind of unlucky for JDG, they actually are able to survive. But here at 5:27, like, can't do this, man. Like, the wave's gone. They use the Dematerializer on the cannon, and RNG is full health. And you've got a Jason and Rek'Sai early game. You're super squish, and they're just able to come in. Olaf was able to get 6 off a minion, which again, that top lane experience plus the scuttle experience probably is what got him to that 6-4 level lead. They're able to run him down, and they just run it down mid. RNG basically take control of this game. There's a lot of, there's some shenanigans going around. But RNG actually almost perfect game this before a little shenanigans in the base, but that's game 1 to RNG. We're gonna pick it up at 5:27 in the game. JDG have the push Kalista into Kai'Sa, and they're bringing the squad. Yagao, who is their star mid laner, and Flawless, Lu Mao. Everyone's going bot lane for Uzi. Uzi is out. He's like, I'm gone, and it's just Ming. It's 4v1, just Ming under turret. Ming makes the first move. He gets the stun on Lu Mao, is not able to get out of the turret aggro range. They actually kill Ming, but then Karsa flies in. And I don't know why you're being so aggressive on a level 5 Kindred. No ult, you're diving with a level 5 Kindred. It's a disaster for JDG, and you think, how do RNG lose this? We're going to pick this up at 20 minutes and 40 seconds in the game. And I just want to see where the map is, right? So mid lane's down for RNG. They've got both top lane turrets. And look at the wards that JDG have around this Baron. RNG have some wards in there, but it's far from being RNG controlled territory, which is interesting because they have the 2 top lane turrets down. Normally that gives you access into the red side. Unfortunately for this one, Zoom actually was able to draw a ton of pressure to the bot lane, basically taking it to Amazing J's Vladimir. I don't know why they didn't have the Aurelia match him earlier, but now at 21:45, they're sending both there for whatever reason. Now, Amazing J doesn't have teleport, and again, they don't have great Baron vision control. So now they have 2 people bot side, and they're trying to make a play on Yagao. This is just a little unlucky. I think Karsa thought Yagao would kite up towards his own base, to the JDG base. Yagao actually jukes him, goes the other way. He's not able to redirect his Zac jump in time when the blue trinket comes out and sees that the Zoe's going somewhere else. And now they're being pincered because they have 2 members bot side with no TP. Zoom does have TP, and it's a mess. Flawless dies without ever using his ult. He just gets knocked up a couple times, unlucky. But now it's a 3v4 still, and there's no coming back from this. Again, I think it's lane allocation issues from RNG, having the 2 members bot. You can't do that. They get ace. It's a free Baron to JDG. Again, it turned basically an unlosable game into a game that you lose. And it's like, again, you can't have these execution errors if we want to be the RNG that is able to beat Top Sports or Fun Plux Phoenix or even Invictus, who Invictus I think still are trying things out. I don't think they're in final form yet, and we'll be talking about them. Don't worry as the game goes on. JDG versus RNG Game 3. I don't think Flawless is a Skarner player. So it's a level 2 Skarner versus a level 2 Lee Sin. I'm going to try to gander at who's going to win this. Now, Karsa is not an idiot, so he's like, I'm not going to fight you on the Spire. And, you know, both of them, he chases the Lee Sin off, and he's like, okay, now I've done things. But now the Lee Sin resets because he's got Ryze in his back pocket. The Ryze is coming up, Yagao had Xiaohu shoved in. I don't know how the Ryze got here first, but the Ryze does get here first. It's actually kind of unfortunate because Xiaohu flashes for nothing and doesn't even get in on the kills. So it's Lee Sin, Kaisa, Uzi shot up a W and Alistar heal, got an assist gold for that. So, you know, Xiaohu flashed for no reason at all. But again, this is, you know, Flawless is a decision making. I think it's a question for me. This is a very good bot lane, mid lane setup. Zoom, we obviously saw him beast. For me, it's Flawless. Can he be more consistent? I'm going to jump ahead in this game to 21 minutes and 45 seconds. Again, you have a Skarner on your team. Skarner is a pick champion. He's basically pick this guy, that guy's out of here. And at 21:45, they don't have top turret down. They have mid lane shoved in, which is great. But they're like, you know, YOLO Baron, 21 minutes, 45 seconds. Baron's going to take a long time to go down. Now, they have all 3 lanes shoved in, which is good. But again, imagine having a Skarner on your team and declining to get a pick before Baron. RNG basically just walk up to this. Almost all of them actually get here in time because Ryzel, the only one that's not here is Uzi. Karsa steals the Baron, and this is just an absolute mess. You don't want to see it from Flawless. Don't do this. Don't handshake the Baron when you have a Skarner on your team. I went back and looked at his play profile. This is last year, Season 8. Only 4 Skarner games. He's just not a Skarner player. This is a carry player. He likes to play. In years past, he's played things like Graves, an aggressive Elise. Last year, it was a lot of Kazakhs. Jungle, Jarvan is more of a tank, but you have Olaf. And this is what he likes to do, and he just wasn't comfortable on the Skarner. It gave basically the game. This is a game where I think JDG had the edge in this one. And it's not a game where you automatically get outscaled because Syndra can delete people. Karsa actually got deleted. He just walked up to Syndra, and Syndra just pressed R. He stunned him with the ball and then pressed R. But come on, like, Syndra's a ridiculous champion. But again, like, I want to see Flawless be able to make these late game decisions. This is one where RNG was able to execute. They still had flaws. Uzi actually inted, like full on inted twice. Just walked up to the enemy team and said, "Kill me," twice. They still won because they actually ended up backdooring while they were confusing them at Baron. So it was a good win for RNG, but I don't want to see them win that way. Like, they can win that way. Xiaohu's good like that. But I want to see them be able to pull off the clean execution. Kind of that evolution of RNG that we saw last year. I think they've taken a step back, definitely this year. At this point in the split, you would expect them to kind of ramp it up, especially going in so close to playoffs. We're only a few weeks out. So, you know, this spring split lasts a long time. We're only 1 week out, a week and a half out from playoffs. So I want to see that consistency out of RNG. Out of these teams, I actually think that Top Sports right now, for me, has the edge with Invictus Gaming. I think you see some more clear flaws on the side of Fun Plux after we've seen them lose a few games. You know, it's just all about Doinby with that team. And if they take down Doinby, I don't know what happens. Knight gives Top Sports a bunch of options. Loken gives them a bunch of options. If we can see better performance from LWX, definitely could see Fun Plux making the final, winning it all. Royal, more consistency execution-wise. It's kind of little things, not macro like it is with Fun Plux. It's execution-wise. EDG, they, you know, I actually haven't talked much about them. They keep making, kind of like RNG. They're kind of in the same boat. They make these dumb mistakes, which you don't expect, like iBoy getting caught out of nowhere. So it's execution-wise for them, but you would expect that their macro play would be with Clear Love and Mako perhaps on another level. We'll see what happens. I really thought Fun Plux Phoenix, their play style really suit the first half of the split. We'll see if they can continue that success. We've seen some holes poked in them into the second half. It's going to be a fun one. This does it for this episode, the LPL focused No FFs podcast. Again, give us a follow on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. We'll catch you next time.